But before we start, I have a new set of ads that are running as of last night. And let me tell you, the comments are Carolee's dying. The comments that and the DMs I'm getting already. I have been called a redneck skank this morning. And I have also gotten a voice note from a guy named Rodney asking me if I need poop extracted from my bum. So, welcome to Trolls in 2025. And these have only been running for like 10 hours. So, there's going to be good ones. I know it. I'm going to keep sharing them because I think that what people don't realize, like some people like get really upset by the trolls. If you can make the trolls funny and you can appreciate the creativity of the trolls, I do think that I don't know, it honestly it makes everything more fun. All right. So today we are going to talk about microdose marketing. I'm going to use, if you don't follow me on Instagram, this is not going to make a tremendous amount of sense. I will do my best to explain it to you, but if you don't follow me on Instagram, you're not going to understand some of the references. So you may want to, because I do something called coffee thoughts every morning. And so I'm going to talk about my coffee thoughts, what they are, why they matter, and the core idea behind all of this. And then I'm going to explain what it does, what they do, and why they work. And essentially the psychology behind them. And then we're going to talk about how to do something like that for yourself. So coffee thoughts are short, raw material that I do every single morning. I haven't done it yet because I had no power and I just made my first coffee. They blend humanity, identity, and leadership in one really, really quick little bite-sized Instagram story. They're not polished marketing posts. They're micro moments where my audience, or in your case, your audience, gets access to your mind, not just your methods. And this becomes really, really important. Okay. Coffee thoughts are essentially 1 to 3 sentence reflections, kind of like little tight little journal entries. I always do three. They're honest, unfiltered, and they're not designed to be like a performance piece of content. The whole point behind this is to show, essentially show who are you and not just what you know. So how do you think? Who are you? Um, they're meant to humanize the experience and essentially soften the leadership. What I mean by soften the leadership, it's very often that leadership online comes across as very jarring. It can come across as jarring, as authoritative and harsh, and there are moments where that is, can be effective, but at the same time, these are not these are not meant to be that, right? So they're intended to make your brand feel like a person and not a business, right? So examples that I have used, right? Like I do 3 coffee thoughts every day. I've been doing it for um 6 years. And I've been consistent essentially every day for 6 years. So examples of lines that I've used is, nothing works if you don't think it will. You can't build a 7-figure business with three-figure thinking. They're meant these little like one-liners, the way that I use them are meant to get you thinking. They're things that I think about that are meant to get you thinking. Humans bond through small, consistent disclosures, not one big overshare. This is just revealing a thought, a perspective, or a reflection. So what is that? Why does this work? It creates parasocial connection. It creates emotional resonance. And it also creates what we call identity familiarity. So your audience starts to feel like they know you over and over and over again. Okay. So what I would ask you is what's one truth you needed to hear last year that you could share tomorrow morning or that you could share with your audience, and just something bite-sized, right? Just something, or even just something that you're thinking about, that you have these thoughts that go through your head, but then you don't share them, right? And so ritualized reflection and someone being able to connect with you that way, it builds trust, familiarity, and memorability. We've done entire trainings on memorability, right? But it builds all of those three things. The power of my coffee thoughts isn't really in the content. Yeah, the content's great and people like the content. It's in the ritual. It's in the consistency. Okay, so the ritual means repetition, identity, and then emotional association. Okay, so ritual creates familiarity. Humans trust what feels familiar. A consistent morning post, like I do, it creates this almost like a sense of a shared routine. Like we're doing it, like we do it together every day. I create coffee thoughts. People, you read my coffee thoughts, right? And so there's an element of it's just something that we do together every day. It's something that we share every day. It also creates what we're going to call parasocial attachment. People see you daily, and then you feel like you're part of their life. It's so simple, but it's actually so powerful. This is the same psychological effect as a podcast or like a reality TV show that you watch all the time. It builds this kind of like identity reinforcement. So your micro thoughts that you're sharing every day, they reinforce your philosophies and the way that you think in small doses. So then over time, it shapes how your audience thinks. So here's what I mean. Like I could put one huge personal philosophy post out, and only a certain number of people will read it, will remember it, will identify with it, all of those things. Are those posts important? Yes. But this is another way, and in my opinion, actually a more effective way to do this and almost train your audience in terms of how you want them to think. So it builds this kind of it shapes and or builds the way that your audience ends up thinking over time because of the consistency. It also creates what I'm going to call emotional brand anchors. So for me, right, my coffee thoughts kind of equal morning calm, reflection, and insight. So my brand becomes associated with grounded leadership. Does that make sense? This is also going to separate you from the noise. Most agents are posting listings, sales pitches, tactics. This ritualized reflection, it actually builds authority through thinking and not through information. So it's almost like you're allowing people to connect with you in multiple different ways. So the psychology behind this is the mere exposure effect, cognitive fluency, and emotional congruence. And I'm going to explain all three of them. So the mere exposure effect is people trust what they see often, period, which is why our retargeting campaigns and why the omnipresent stuff performs so well. Cognitive fluency is that short thoughts are easier to process and are more memorable. So that's why people in general are creating short, bite-sized pieces of content now. They're not that's the way that people are consuming content. So all we're doing is we're giving it to them in an even easier package. And then lastly, emotional congruence. People remember content that's tied to a sensory moment. Coffee, morning light, a sunset, something that has some sort of a sensory thing attached to it, people remember that content more. Right? So for me, I'm going to just explain why coffee thoughts became a brand pillar. The first was always the recognizable ritual, right? I drink coffee every morning. It was very easy for me to tie the coffee to the ritual of the coffee thoughts purely because I could habit stack it. Because I was going to drink the coffee every morning, it just literally started my content creation day. This also shapes tone and energy. Okay. My brand pillars or my brand archetypes, one of them is a sage. Sage is warm, grounded, reflective, human, right? And so the way that I create my thoughts are in that tone. It also became a gateway into deeper work. So a lot of people discover me or when I ask, because I ask all of my followers at some point or another, why do you follow me? And what do you want to see more of? I'm constantly trying to get more feedback from people. Most people will tell me that they love my coffee thoughts. Then the coffee thoughts can move into larger thought processes, right? So when people really react really well to a certain coffee thought, I know that I can then create a framework, a training, or something larger, or a larger piece of content based on what actually got that feedback. The other thing too is that Instagram and Facebook can, when you hit a certain amount of followers or you hit a certain amount of recognizability, your brand can start to feel disconnected. So what I've done here is I've allowed it to feel like to kind of humanize something that, and you'll notice like there's no filters, there's no like sometimes literally I have sleep in my eyes when I take these photos, right? A lot of this really just comes down to it is a real raw moment. Um, it humanizes something that can feel a little bit aspirational. It also blends that idea of lifestyle and leadership. It shows me, which is the person behind the system, the person behind the process. All of this stuff is stuff that can very easily be integrated into your business and into your marketing system. So, so the other psychology behind parts of this is brand personification. People relate to people. I mean, I've talked about this a million times. People don't relate to logos. People don't relate to something that feels very like an ad. People relate to other people. So it creates that brand personification. The emotional continuity, the same tone, the same moment, the same feeling. Again, it's going to create that long-term memory. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to get people to associate coffee with me. Imagine if I was actually able to do that long term, that every time a certain number of agents drank their coffee in the morning, they thought about me. That's a pretty good emotional tie. And then we've got identity-based marketing, right? You are always selling who you are and the way that you think and the things that you believe in just as much as you sell what you do for your clients. So, microdose marketing or microdose brand moments, right? The core idea is that you shouldn't copy my coffee thoughts. You should create your own ritualized content moments, right? Your own microdose brand moments. These are going to be tiny, consistent doses of perspective that express your personality, ritual, and your worldview. So these are tiny, repeatable, recognizable content anchors. Megan Arbuckle did something a couple of days ago in her stories, and I immediately messaged her and I said, "That's your coffee thoughts." She did a whole day where she just documented normal, regular things. She unloaded the dishwasher. She made school lunches. But every single thing that she shared, she wrote, "Good job, Meg," underneath it. And I immediately was like, that "good job, Meg" is her coffee thoughts. That's her version of something that she can be consistent with that will resonate with her niche, right? It can, yep, absolutely, Lindsay. It can blend personal and business. In fact, it should. Um, Jen, if yours is iced coffee, run with it. If you can do that for everyone else, I don't want more coffee thoughts out there, not because of me. Like, you guys don't have the same audiences as me. Like, that wouldn't matter. I just want you to find your own thing, right? We want it to be like time. If you drink wine every single day, you go for it. But it has to be something that you do every single day. It can be as simple as, okay, if you walk the dogs every day, you can tie it to that. Like, if so, I started my coffee thoughts when I still lived in Canada. If I was going to restart them today, which I would never do because I have 6 or 7 years of consistency behind me, um, I would I would do like a beach. I would tie it to a beach because for me that is also a brand pillar. Me living in the Bahamas has also become a brand pillar. So I would tie it. I would tie it to something that is both. But because I've been doing this for so long, a lot of the time when I take a picture of the coffee, I take a picture with the ocean behind it or with the beach behind it. So again, tiny, repeatable, recognizable content anchors. They reflect your daily life and your brand identity. Not mine, not someone else's. This isn't about finding something that you think people will like. This is about something that is kind of like an expression of yours. These express your brand essence every single day in 1 to 3 sentences. It can just be one sentence. What I do sometimes when I'm feeling like I don't know what to talk about, I will go through, I have 7 years of coffee thoughts. I'll go back into my coffee thoughts because they're all in they're all saved in Instagram. I'll go through in all of my past posts. It must be a story. This is not for reels. It's not for a post. This is for a story because it's done every day. And I'll go through those and I'm like, that's a brilliant thought. I can do an entire piece of content on that. And it's from a year ago, right? People are going to differentiate your voice in an overcrowded market when you have that consistency. And it's going to build emotional connection faster than any tip carousel, any hacks, any listing video that ever will. Why does this work? Pattern recognition. People remember consistent narrative cues, micro influence, small but frequent impressions, right? This is going to create more trust than infrequent big posts. Associative memory. When they do the ritual, when they walk the dog, when they draw, when they get in the car, when they're going to start to think of you. Again, that's why do something that is going to work with your niche. Your stories are actually, so Jen, if you go into your profile, if you go into your Instagram profile, you click on the hamburger menu, and you go to archive. There's like a whole bunch, there's like a couple of different things across the top that give you an option. If you click on the one that looks like a calendar, that's where all of your past stories live. Okay, so how do you create your own microdose brand moment? Number one, you pick your sensory anchor. Pick something that already happens daily. You walk the dog, you could do dog walk downloads or car ride clarity or gym set realizations or sunset notes or morning walk moments or, like late night tea thoughts. There's so many of these things, right? Exactly. If you do cryotherapy every day, you could do, thoughts from the like cryo thoughts. If you could do, you do need a title because you want to have that like visual association of the title with what they're going to get. Elevator thoughts. Justin does elevator thoughts, and then he takes a selfie of himself in his elevator every day when he's leaving the house. Right. And so, do you have a free app recommendation for citations? I don't know what that question means. If someone on the team can get more clarity about that, then I can answer the question. I'm not sure what you're asking for. Okay. So then what we're doing is we're creating an anchor and recognizability. Step two is you choose your tone. This is how intentional these are. So are you reflective? Is it spicy? Is it direct? Is it warm? Observational, philosophical, humorous, grounded? Your tone has to match who you are offline. Okay, so this is essentially just an extension of you. Does it always have to be video? Mine are never video. Mine are always, if you here, I haven't posted one today, but I'm just gonna drop my Instagram handle here. I highly suggest if this is something that you're interested in doing, that you follow me because I do them almost every day. And so, um, you want to keep them short and unfiltered. So 1 to 3 sentences max. It should feel like a journal moment, not a template, right? So it shouldn't be like 3 things I wish, blah, blah, blah. It should be something that like you're thinking about that moment. Sometimes mine are about marketing, sometimes they're about my dogs. Sometimes they're philosophical. Like I did something the other day that people really like wanted to talk more about. I said, you never know what rooms your name is being mentioned in. That was very much about me because right recently I've realized that people are talking about me that I don't even realize and that my brand is doing something that I'm not even aware of until someone reaches out to me for something. And so I was surprised by the rooms that my name is being mentioned in. So things like that, right? Like I am just constantly musing about what's happening around me, the things that I'm thinking about, the conversations that I'm having. And then sometimes I just am sitting there drinking coffee and looking at my dogs, being like, I don't deserve you. You guys are just the friggin' best. Right? So it can be just very like in the moment. Um, then you create these, you write from identity and not from instruction, which I already said. Post it consistently. If you can every single day in your Instagram story, this is going to create that consistency that creates the ritual. And the ritual creates the brand memory, right? So the psychology behind the ritual is cognitive minimalism. Short content reduces mental load and it increases retention. More people read all the way through my coffee thoughts than watch my videos all the way through, right? Authenticity perception, unpolished content feels more trustworthy. There's no filters on these. There's no like sometimes there's mess in the background. Sometimes it's like a really beautiful photo and sometimes it's literally me in my pajamas. And then we've got boundary blurring here is when content feels personal, the audience feels closer. And so it feels like we are just sitting together having coffee. No matter what I'm doing, I'm not fully made up when I drink my coffee in the morning. I'm not fully made up pretty much ever, but you get the point, right? Um, so, some examples like dog walk downloads. The fastest way to, um, I don't know, the fastest way to turn, like it could be anything. Like it could be strength is built in repetition, if that's a gym thought, right? Or consistency is my 2026, I don't know, consistency is my 2026 word. It could be anything, right? But these micro moments lead to sales because microdose brand moments, they're not selling. It's not selling content, but they soften people. They create trust so that people can be sold to later. It's actually a really, really important part of a nurture campaign. They deepen emotional intimacy, and people buy from people and brands that they feel emotionally aligned with. They position you as a thinking partner and not just an agent, which I think is as a realtor or a real estate agent, how you think matters more to your clients than anything else, right? So you become the person that they trust when their brain is spinning. I'm not always visible in it. No. Sometimes it's a photo of like I'll hold up my coffee and I'll take the photo like this way. And then sometimes I will take a selfie with the coffee. It really depends on the day. I mix it up. Um, I mix it up so that it doesn't get boring. I post them. So I mean, I post them on Instagram and they share to Facebook. So they do end up on Facebook, but I create them for Instagram. Um, okay, so They deepen emotional intimacy. They create the mirror exposure effect, right? Daily content, daily trust building. That's what we're doing. We're putting them together. They warm people up for your actual sales content, right? Your strategies land harder because the emotional connection is already established. It's already there. They build what I call category of one authority. If you want to be in a category of one, then you do something that no one else is doing in the way that you do it. No one else is doing things the way that you do it. And this is why this becomes so important. This is why copying kills brands. Because if you try to start to do stuff that other people are doing and that you see other people doing, you've lost your category of one authority. So we're priming. Soft messaging makes the audience more receptive to hard messaging. We're trust stacking. Each micro moment adds a tiny layer of trust. And then we're identity mirroring, right? When people hear anything internal that's reflected out, then they start to feel seen, and seen people trust, and seen people choose you, right? So your final action plan. Coffee Thoughts has changed my brand because they've changed the relationship between me and my audience, right? It's created a ritual that people connect with, right? But your job here isn't to copy my ritual. I know that it seems easy because you're like, it's coffee. I also drink coffee. I highly suggest that you do your own thing. Your job is to create your own microdose brand moment, something that you can easily be consistent with, right? For you to show your people who you are when the world is quiet. This will also increase your story views. So choose your ritual anchor, choose your tone, write your first microdose brand moment, and then post it without editing it. And then keep doing it. If you do this consistently, your audience is going to start to recognize your voice before they recognize your face. And this is really, really important, right? So pick your ritual anchor, choose your tone, write your first microdose brand moment, and then post and start doing it every day, right? Repeat it for your first job is repeat it for 7 days. And then after that, you repeat it for one more 7 days, right? And so again, if you do this consistently, your audience is going to start to recognize your voice before they recognize your face. And this is really important, right? I do not batch these. I do them in real time every day. Anybody who's ever like hung out with me in the morning has like watched me do this, where I will like sit and like pick up my coffee and like just look at like clearly see me do this a million times, where like I'm sitting there and I'm like looking at my coffee and she knows what I'm doing, right? I'm like sitting there and I'm just staring at my coffee for a second. It's because I'm coffee thoughts. Right. And Carolee's been in so many of them. Sometimes I'll take a picture of the person I'm having coffee with, right? The person who's in front of me. Sherry, just wait. You're going to be in some coffee thoughts. Sherry's coming here in December. She's going to be in my coffee thoughts for 3 days. So, potty thoughts, you could do potty, guys, if someone do that. Someone do potty thoughts. John, I'm obsessed with you. We're going to be best friends. Somebody needs to do that because honestly, it's so real. If you have a funny brand, 1000% do something like that. But figure out what it is that, it could be it could be anything. It could be like if you make kids lunches every day, it could be like you could do it that way. Ask ChatGPT to help you name it. Right? Like make it clever. Not don't make it clever, but not too long. Two tea leaves and life lessons is too long. Ideally, you want 2 to 3 words. It could be Jamie's thoughts, right? Just make it clear that these are musings. Does it hurt to be on camera speaking? Yes. These are bite-sized, and if you rely on people watching or listening with sound, it won't perform as well. The reason why this works so well is because they're quick, they're easy to read, they're easy to consume, and it's like a static thing. Um, Absolutely, Tara. It can be a mix of random thoughts, work, personal reflections, all of those things. As you create them, though, just constantly ask yourself, is this going to resonate with my niche? Um, you could do night owl notes. You could just do night notes, late night notes, right? Just something that's like very simple. Um, I'm not a morning person either. If you look at the times that I post my coffee thoughts, people are like, "What? That's like the afternoon." Um, because I'm not a morning person. So sometimes on a Saturday, I'm still a teenage boy at all times. So on a Saturday morning, I may wake up at 11 o'clock. My coffee thought's happening at 11 o'clock. Um, I am a sleeper. I very rarely wake up before 8:30, 9 a.m. So that's when I do my coffee thoughts. I know some of you are like, what? I get up at 6 a.m. every day. Could never be me. I think it's one of the reasons I don't have kids. Because like the idea of having to wake up with children in the morning is horrifying to me. Um, so toilet takes, also hilarious. What content should you post? What you're thinking? This is where like you get to like come out of this, right? My coffee thoughts are very much just what I'm thinking about and what I think that you will get something out of. No captions. I'm not sure, Christine, what you mean by captions. So okay. Number one question. Do you follow me on Instagram? Because none of this is really going to make sense. If you've seen my coffee thoughts on Instagram, like for like a year, you'll know exactly kind of what this looks like. It's basically just a picture of my coffee or a picture of me. It says coffee thoughts on it, and it has three thoughts, like just three lines. And that's all it is. But it's been consistency. You can talk about real estate in these, but like what can you say about real estate or the market in one line? This is not a long-winded thing. It's a snippet of a thought. Trending sound. I don't put any sound on my coffee thoughts. Again, I keep it very, very, very simple. I post it on Instagram. It shares to Facebook. Is it B-roll or just a photo? It's just a photo. So every once in a while, if I'm in like a cool place that has a cool coffee maker, I'll take a picture of the coffee maker making I'll take a video of the coffee maker making the coffee. That's pretty much it. Um, Christy's asking, should your Instagram have Realtor in it? It doesn't matter. Um, but your name, so not your handle, but your name field should have your location and Realtor in it. Sleepy thoughts. Yep. I agree, Christine. She's saying I find morning people a tad sanctimonious about their early rising habits. Agreed. Agreed. I will never hide the fact that like we start our events at 10 a.m. because I don't want to get up at some ungodly hour. Um, all right, all right, all right. Okay. The font on your coffee thoughts is too small. That's so funny. Small font actually works better because it makes people actually like hold it down and read it. Large font actually doesn't convert as well. So put your glasses on, Ben. Music, no, you don't have to. If you really want to put music on it, you can, but I don't. Um, so my edit closet isn't the same. It's not the same. This is a different thing, Bettina. Your edit closet thing is a series. This is like a microdose. So a microdose brand moment is very much just like something that you can do every day forever. You can do mountain moments, absolutely. Okay, hang on, I think. Boop, boop, boop. So basically review your coffee thoughts to length. No, it makes me crazy. I can't see without my glasses. You have to wear your glasses. I'm wearing my glasses so that I could see. Is it a bad idea to make to make it about music, song of the day. You got it. Yours can 100% be song of the day. It can also be, yours can also be like, if you're one of those people that like truly believes that there's like a soundtrack to your life that's constantly playing in the background, you can use that. Like, what is something that you do every day, right? Like, what is something that like makes you you? Do you choose a hat every morning? Do you have like a million hats and you choose a hat every morning? Like, what is it that, so we don't, Katie, we don't want a theme. I'm being nitpicky here because I just really want to make sure that you guys really nail this. Because if you don't nail it, it's going to feel weird. Um, we don't want a theme. It could be like daily pause, absolutely, but don't make all of it about dogs. It has to be like kind of random. Is consistency in the time of day important? Usually, yeah. So like if it can be something that you do first thing in the morning, it that really does help because it is essentially your first your first thing of the day, like your first your first kind of quote unquote post of the day. Does this work with luxury consumers if they are human beings? Because this is all based on human psychology, and rich people have the same human brain that everyone else has. So absolutely. Um, cool. All right. How would you tailor? I don't know what you mean. Can you just expand on that? Um, every single thing that I talk about works with every single kind of niche because it is because we're marketing to humans. And every single thing that I teach is based on human psychology. And it doesn't matter how much money you have, you still have a human brain. And so again, like, I am considered a luxury consumer when I go out and I purchase things. And I am a friggin' weirdo. So I think that sometimes what we do is we assume that luxury means stiff. In fact, most people nowadays that have a lot of buying power are actually what we would call new money. And new money made their money through entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship is scrappy as hell. So a lot of the time when you're talking about luxury humans nowadays, it's not the way that they were a while ago. I had this conversation. I have a really good friend here who's British. We were talking about like British aristocracy. And at the top of my island that I live on is a strange place called Harbor Island. Harbor Island is essentially the Nantucket of the Caribbean. Like the other day, I was looking on Instagram, and a friend of mine who lives on Harbor Island was at Saskia Connolly, Sean Connery, Saskia Connery's 30th birthday party, Sean Connery's granddaughter's birthday party. Those are the people who are in Harbor Island. And like there's a lot of British aristocracy, the Mountbattens, like those kinds of people, they all live in Harbor Island. And it's a very strange place because it's generational wealth. Like it's like royalty wealth. And if I was marketing to them, I wouldn't market this way. But the majority of people who live in North America who are who have millions and millions of dollars, luxury consumers nowadays, um, they're not like that. So I think that it's important. It's important to understand and not to stereotype people based on price point. Okay, so my Instagram account, because I've got some people asking, is just at Jess Lenouvel. I do my coffee thoughts every day. I haven't done one today because I had no power and this is my first coffee. But I do them every day. And you can, I mean, like I said, like look at mine. I do mine as a poll now. You do not have to do that. I did them for 6 years, not as a poll. I just did them as a list. I do them as a poll now because I'm testing something. I'm constantly testing with my own account. Um, I wouldn't use the same song all the time. No. A POLL. Like I'm like a like people can choose which one they like the best. So I put the three coffee thoughts up and then they're buttons and someone can click on whichever one resonates with them the most. Um, you cannot see my past ones because it disappears every 24 hours. And that's the point. That's the ritual, right? So you only get to see the one that I post that day. Not for dancing, not dancing polls. Polls as in choose the answer that you like the best. No, and you can't see the past ones. And that's the point. They disappear every 24 hours and you get to tune into them. And again, it creates that ritual. I will get messages from people who are like, "Where's your coffee thought today?" People notice when I don't do it, and I'll be like, I have the plague and I am dying today. I did not drink a coffee because I am dying." And then people will be like, and it starts conversations. So like people notice when I don't do it. Um, cool. If you guys have more questions, you can always send me an email or send me a DM. Um, you can do an outfit of the day for sure, but it's been done a lot, right? So because I would try to find something that's a little bit more unique because it's been done so many times. Um, have you had to resort to recycling them? No. I have created every single one of them brand new every single day because things change. I change, the way that I'm thinking changes, the things that are relevant change. Um, they are Instagram stories. So I post them on Instagram stories, then they go to Facebook stories. They're not posts. Okay, if you have any other questions about these, let me know. You can send me a DM on Instagram, or you can send me an email. Um, my email is always this. Cool. I hope this was helpful. And I can't wait to see what you guys create. I will talk to you guys soon. Oh, for those of you who are still here, I have launched the January virtual event. So if you want to come to that, because the last one sold out and then everybody was like, when are you going to do the next one? And so I don't have dates for Toronto yet because I've got something in the works that I'm not sure when Toronto will fit in. But I did launch another virtual for January. There will be a limited number of people who can come. You can click on the link that I just dropped in the chat. If you are interested in seeing more about it, it will be an entire, essentially 2026 reverse engineer. People loved the last one. So we're doing it in January after the holidays so that it doesn't feel so crammed in. People really loved it. How did I end up in the Bahamas? I always knew that I wanted to be in the Bahamas. I always knew that I wanted to live here. I always knew that I wanted to be somewhere tropical. Um, the Bahamas is close to family. I can still get home in 2.5 hours, and it has no taxes. So both were winners. All right. Can you send the link to everyone manually, individually? I'm sorry, I don't know which link. This was amazing. Will the replay be available? Absolutely. The replay will be on my YouTube channel by the end of the day. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, I'm leaving. You guys leave too. Bye.